Hello, testing, 1, 2, 3. This is Larry Stevenson with the Larry Stevenson Group. Presenting today, we're going to be discussing earn scholarship thousands of dollars, find 40 to 60 perfect scholarships for you. To begin, we're going to review some things. We ask that if you wish, I've turned on the Q&A so that you can talk verbally or submit your questions in the chat or raise your hand on the icon for raise your hand. We'll begin now. So let's go with first, there are two types of scholarships, as we mentioned in the basic overview and descriptions. These are restricted scholarships that they define how you may use the money. A restricted scholarship may be used for tuition in a certain major at a certain school. It may be the Dell Scholarship, which is given to those who receive it. They may get a Dell computer for the scholarship. Then there are unrestricted scholarships. And unrestricted scholarships, you just have to prove you are in school and that the money is being used for school costs, which can include everything from tuition to books to housing to food to transportation and more. So you want to make sure that you're working on both types of scholarships. There's a tendency to focus on the restricted, to say, well, I'm going to be an engineer. I need to apply for engineering scholarships. Why are you talking to me about this Calgon Take Me Away scholarship? You want to get both kinds to cover all the costs of your school. Today we're going to discuss basically three different types of scholarships that you will use as sources. The one source are scholarship lists, and we're going to do some definitions and descriptions of those. The second source are scholarship search engines, and we'll show you how to use one of those. And the next one is a single source scholarship. We're not going to spend so much time on single source. Single source scholarships are you go and they tell you about one specific scholarship. So with that, let's talk about the top scholarship lists, and we're going to demonstrate some of these as we go through. So first, we're going to talk about Adventures in Education, and Adventures in Education is an excellent scholarship for a list, and I'll show you how it is. So give me just a second. The website is on there. It's WWAIE for Adventures in Education or .org/scholarships with an S close. And when you click on that, you will see this screen for AIE. Oops, I typed something wrong. So let me back up and do this again. It's the so we're going paying for college, understanding college costs. Give me a second. Sorry about that. Okay, so here we have Adventures in Education Scholarship. You'll notice that it has a search where you can do an exact phrase in name or description, all words within, any words within. I'm going to use any words at this point. And with this one, you can use your themes. Now, themes describe who you are. So we can say, show us all of the leadership scholarships. And so here we have scholarships. There are 308 of them. They show us 1 through 10, and these are all scholarships you'll notice has the word leadership in them. So if you are a leader, these are scholarships that may be for you. Once again, I want to point out that as a list, it's not remembering who you are. It won't remember what you typed in. It won't remember which one of these that you really want to apply for. So you have to create a way to do that, and for a lot of them, it's by bookmarking the page. So we go to this first one and we look and we say, okay, so this is minimum award is $5,000. The average is unspecified. They give a total of $25,000. The deadline is February 28th. Now that's February 28th of every year. The sponsor are the Sons of Italy, and here's the application information. Here's a contact person for the scholarship coordinator, her phone number, her address. Here shows how many applications, how many awards, and the maximum awards they're going to give. And so this list tells you about this scholarship. Applicant must be of Italian heritage and a full-time student attending or planning on attending an accredited four-year institution who has demonstrated exceptional leadership qualities and a distinguished level, blah, 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 blah. Okay, so this outlines, and if this is one that you would like, here is the website that you can click to learn more. You would click on that and favorite it. Then you would go back and you would say, okay, this next one, educational leadership. Applicant must be a full-time graduate student in any field of education, a member of good standing of Phi Delta Kappa. So you say, well, I'm not in Phi Delta Kappa, but this one I may join if I can, if I qualify. The selection is based on a written essay, transcript, recommendations, and involvement in Phi Delta Kappa. It's a $750 scholarship, and they give evidently 2 of them out. Deadline's June 30th, study areas. Once again, this tells you about the scholarship. So that's Adventures in Education. Now we can change that and say, okay, but leadership wasn't my theme. I am creative. And here are Young American Creative Patriotic Art Contest, an art scholarship. Somewhere in here we'll find a writing scholarship, a musical scholarship. So with this search engine, this isn't a search engine, with this list, you can put in the words that would apply. You could say, I want to go to school in Washington, D.C., and there are scholarships for Washington, D.C. This is how a list works. Having said that, we're going to come over here and we're going to look at another list, and that is the CareerOneStop. With CareerOneStop, you put in this sorry, I'm getting confused. You put in this URL, and in this case we're going to go with CareerOneStop, and I'm going to show you how to do this from their main web page, just in case you don't get the entire URL. So you go into CareerOneStop, this takes you there, you go to Find Training, Scholarships, and scholarships are a great sort, and here's their scholarship finder right there. And once again, this is a list. Now on this list, you can filter by a keyword, so once again, we could put in the word leadership, and it just gave us 977 awards that are focusing on leadership. We could once again go into academics, and here's a list that 2,881 that are based on academics. They also have here scholarships, fellowships, grants, prizes. You can say only show me the scholarships. You can say I only want those that are going to be given for a bachelor's degree. Or if you are going for a graduate degree, you would click here and it would eliminate all the undergraduate. And by clicking undo, it'll take you back. Once again, you have a link, you have the organization who's funding it, the purpose of the scholarship to provide motivation and encouragement to George T. Lewis Jr. Academic Center graduates intending to pursue a post-secondary education or training. So this one may be available in a restricted scholarship for a bachelor's degree at a specific university. When you click on the name, it tells you who's organizing it. There's their contact information. Once again, this George T. Lewis Junior Academic graduates may be at a specific school. So we look through and we see we're not seeing anything there about a specific school. Here's how to apply, and there's a contact person. And here is a link directly to there. So once again, this begins to give you abilities to find 40 to 60 scholarships using lists. I need to remind you that with a list, you have to figure out how you're going to remember, because they will not remember who you are. Some of the others, I'm not going to show all of them, that we recommend that you look at is National Fellowship and Scholarship Program. They have two interesting lists. They have one that is a list of scholarships, but they also offer one that is a list of scholarship search engines. So on that one, you would go in and you would take a look at them. And this one's offered by a specific university as a service that they provide to their students. And so part of this is only going to be for their students, and others, anyone can use it. So here's scholarship search engines. When we click on it, here's the Adventures in Education, here's Affordable College Online, Careers in Colleges, all of these search engines that you can use. On the other hand, you can go and you can look at their list of scholarships, and on this one you can go by category. So let's say you want to go into actuarial science. Once again, this is a limited kind of scholarship. You would click that, and here are scholarships, and you'll notice they have 3 pages of them, of scholarships for people who are wanting to work in actuarial work. The actuarial diversity gives a description, qualifications, link to the website, and categories they will award it to. So you may not be going into actuarial service, but you may be in graduate studies, and it would apply. The program here does mention that it is for diversity. So it's accepting Black, African American, Hispanic, and Native American students. Once again, if this is something you do, you would have to bookmark it or make a list of how you want to use it. So additional scholarships lists include Scholarship Library and My College Scholarships. We've shown you how to use lists. If you have any questions, feel free to raise your hand. I'm not seeing any hands raised or any questions, so we'll move on. The next thing is we're now going to talk about search engines and the process for a scholarship search engine. I want to remind you that the first one is you will create an account using an email account. You will complete a profile that includes questions, and we'll model that for you. And then you will review the list to eliminate those that aren't good and narrow it to those that are probabilities. With search engines, remember, you're going to create a profile. That profile is going to ask you questions. They are all free, so they pay for themselves with ads. And so these ads will try and get you to click on something you may not want to do. So whenever you see the word no thanks or skip this and return, you click that. Don't click on the offer, or you will wind up in the Navy with a bunch of credit cards and a subscription to Bride magazine. So once again, we're going to start with search engines. The first one we're going to do is one of the most popular. It is called Fastweb.com. And with Fastweb.com, you type in just Fastweb.com. It takes you here. It says start your search. And you're going to go in, you're going to start your search, and it will ask some key questions. Are you a student or the parent of a student? You'll answer whichever one that you are. You'll put your current grade level. Current grade level, I am a graduate student. Your high school graduation year. So we go down, we say high school graduation year was 19 72. Yes, I'm that old. And then it asks for the birthday, and you'll put in the birthday. And once again, remember, the reason for these questions is because someone is rewarding birthdays in a certain time frame. So we put in our zip code. I'm looking for things for graduate student, 4th year. I am a U.S. citizen. Now, notice it's got U.S. citizen, U.S. permanent resident, none of the above. By clicking that, that automatically accesses certain kinds of scholarships. People come to me and they ask me, how can I, as an international student, get scholarships? Well, one way to do it is this. When you click this, it shows you those scholarships. So what we're going to do is we're going to create an email address using an email that's been developed before, and the one we're using is one that's been developed, and you want to create an email address that you just use for scholarships. Don't use your normal email address. You notice that mine suggested to come up, and I had to override it and put in this one that I'm using for scholarships. Now, on this, it says, do I want to get email about new scholarships or internships that match my profile, up to 7 notifications in a busy week? I'm going to say yes to that. Do I want to receive deadline notifications? I'm going to say no. Oh, hold it. It didn't like my... Then this one's crucial. Fastweb newsletters and updates. You'll receive a weekly newsletter with scholarship, financial aid, and student lists. Plus, we'll let you in on scholarship secrets, site updates, and sweepstakes. I'm going to say no to that. You're going to look in a little while. We're going to see where it talks about marketing partners. So we say, okay, next step. It's unable to register my account because, I'm already registered with this email. So let me try a different email of mine. And we'll try that. Now, once again, you'll notice it's undone. I want to go back and put those no's in, or I'll wind up getting those emails I don't want, and I'll be spammed. Oh, it erased this. Okay, so now let's give this a try. It says I'm already registered here. So this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to come up and I'm going to change this, and I'm going to sign in with that email and see how that works. Okay, this is embarrassing. This is one of those things you usually want to have undone and practiced before. Okay, we're going to try one more. And it's not working. Continue now. I finally got in. I had to use a different email address. And what you'll notice is it's gone through, and based on what I had filled out earlier, it said there are 36 new matches, a total of 36 for $82,500. Now, what we need to do is come up here to my profile. And in my profile, we will add additional information. So here's my account setting, and I can edit this section. I'm not going to change this. I can go to my student profile. Now here, it's saying I'm a college sophomore. I need it for my college junior year. I don't have a GPA, so I'm going to come in here. I'm going to start filling in these parts. So I put 3.6. I don't have a SAT score. I don't have any of these. Am I currently in school? No, I am not currently in school. My high school graduation year was once again all the way back in 1972. Am I going to transfer within the year? Yes, I am going to transfer. My college graduation year was 1978. Colleges of interest. Now here's where, as I start typing in, I say, okay, Harvard, and it fills it in, and I can say, okay, Harvard is one. Another school is I have always wanted to go to Hawaii, so I'm going to put BYU, or excuse me, Brigham Young, Hawaii, because I'd love to go to Hawaii. Another one I would like to look at is Oxford Graduate School. So I can put in as many schools as I want. And for those of you who are in high school, you put in all the schools you would like to attend. You can eliminate them later. This is what we're also going to do with our majors. So with our majors, I'm going to put, I want an MPA, a Master's in Public. So let me go business and international business. I can also put professional technical business and scientific writing. I can also put that I am wanting to be a trainer. Let's see if anything comes up. That's athletics, so I don't want to do that. So I can put in I forgot public. So here's public relations, public administration. I can put in all the majors I want. And once again, we encourage you to list, if you don't know exactly what you want, you put in all the ones that interest you. If you do know what you want, like business, every time different ones came up, I had to look and say, okay, yes, I also want general business. So you put in all the options that are related to what you want to do. Same thing here. Now with this, we're going to go through and say, I would like to work in advertising. I want to work in you see all the ones. Here's business management and administration, Christian service, coaching, community service. These are my career objectives. And once again, these are all things that do interest me. I want to do some creative writing. Diplomatic service. So you go through and you put in all those things that interest you. And I'm not going to take the time to go all the way through this because you can see how long the list is. And it's pretty exhaustive and gives you a lot of opportunities for you to look at on what it is you want to do. Okay? I'm going to stop here. And we'll just do that. Then it goes educational experience. And it lists, did I go to a Catholic high school? Do I have an associate's degree? Did I go to a junior college? Am I continuing education after interruption? Yes. Am I a descendant of an alumni of the same school? Yes. ESL, am I enrolled? Once again, this brings in all the international students and how they can find scholarships that apply to them. I am going to an executive program, so I have an evening student I am not a GED. This is where if people are homeschooled, they can click that, and that opens a lot of opportunities. I did get my degree from an independent private university, so I clicked that. Parochial high school part-time student. Yes, I'm going for the executive program, so that's part-time. I am non-traditional because I'm going back at a older age. Student graduate of a Christian high school doesn't apply to me. Transfer from four-year schools, and that answers that. And then here are the academic honors. And if you have earned any honors like Beta Kappa or Phi Beta Kappa or some of these Lambda Delta Sigma, you would click all the ones that you belong to. This is where National Honor Society is going to appear on this list. This is where the National Merit, all of those honor societies that you can be in college or in high school, you would clues, and we're then going to save it. And by saving all of this, it begins to make changes. Now I'm going to go back to my profile, and now I'm going to, see, look at what's happening in my profile. Just what I just did increased the number of scholarships I qualify for. So I'm going to go back to my student profile, and I completed this educational activities. I haven't done the personal information or the student activities. I'm just going to model student activities. We go to edit the section again, and where it says student activities, and this is where it lists clubs. And if you are still in high school or going to be in high school, you look through and you find all these clubs that are in your school, and you click the ones that you can join, and then you go join them. So take a look at this list and click all the things that you could be in. And you go in and you click on those, and then you go do it. Or you do it and then click on it. And so you go through this list, and you see it's got everything from culinary arts to debate to a destination imagination, duck calling, educational talent search, entrepreneur, started your own business, extracurricular activities, all of these different things that you could do. Did you participate in indoor and outdoor games? Were you on the General Youth Council? Were you a Girl Scout? Did you volunteer for Habitat for Humanity? Horseshoe pitching, hunting. I mean, look at this list of all the things that you can be a member of that open the door to more scholarships. So you want to go through this and read it pretty carefully as you go through, so that you can see all the things that apply to you. And once again, if you've done it, you click it. I was senior class president. If you haven't done it but would like to, click it and go do it. All of these things that you can do to help in your community that open the doors. And then we go to this. I have done aerobics. I got the archery merit badge. I have done some athletics. I have played badminton. I was in baseball and basketball. I took a bowling class in college. Let me see. I'm not cross country. I did get the cycling merit badge. Fencing, field hockey. I do go fishing. I've played in a Pop Warner football league. See, this is where you could say to your mom, I'm sorry, I can't do my chores today. I have to go horseback riding for scholarships, and you click it and then you go do it. So we go through all of these, and they tell us some of the things that we've done and some of the things that we might want to do. And then you move to the next one on performing arts. So here is a band member, marching band member. I was in drama and theater, music. I was instrumental music. I was in a jazz band. I was in the student orchestra. Here we have fraternities. I'm going to pass on that. The school I went to didn't have any. I don't have any military service. Here are memberships of organizations that give scholarships to either members or their children. And so I could go through and find those. I'm not going to do this just for time. And here's previous or current employees. I had one kid I was working with. I love this. He went through and he looked at the list of all these companies, and he then went to work for each of them. Not all of them, but he'd work for them, and then he'd quit and he'd go find another one so that he could apply for scholarships for them. So I'm going to save this. Now watch what happens. It's going to take a while because it has to calculate it, but currently, I have 55 new matches because I just started. I have a total of 55 matches, and in a minute, that's going to change, and it's going to show me what changed. And here are my top scholarships, and I can click here and see all scholarships. And now we come to the third part, which is where we qualify. These top ones, they're on the top because someone paid for them to be there. I will usually avoid those. So here's a contest. Once again, I avoid most contests unless it shows merit or I had to do something to merit it. So this one is saying you must have a minimum of 3.5 grade point average. You must submit an essay on the following topic. What are some ways to instill a greater sense of urgency with water conservation in young people, and what would be the marketing slogan Pelican Water would use to highlight the new campaign? A letter of recommendation is also required. So I look and I say, okay, this is a this tells me others. So it's a $1,500 reward. The deadline October 15th, and right here I can say, yes, I'm interested in this. I meet the requirement. I've got an essay that I can use for that, and I have a letter of recommendation, so I'm going to click I'm interested. Then I go back to my scholarships, and you will notice that scholarship is no longer on my list here because it's up here in my interested column. And there it is, and I can click on it and it will tell me more. So now I go back to my new matches and I say, okay, on this one, NASCAR diversity, not interested. And then I go in here and I say 5,000 Course Hero and Books for Africa scholarship, and it's up to 5,000. We'll post one question online each month and allow registered eligible entrants up to 150 words to submit a response each month. Course Hero will select one winner with the best response from all of them. They will receive 5,000. That's sounding a little fishy to me, so I'm going to say no. Then I go back to my list. And the best way to do this is when you're looking at your list, you put Lord of the Rings on this side and you put the list on this, because this is a pretty long list. And you're going to want to go through each one and decide. And then once you've gone through, you just now look at the ones you were interested in, you click on it, and then you move it to applied. And over here are the ones that I said I'm not interested in. All search engines work basically the same way. So what we're going to do is we're going to show you now search engines. Fastweb is a good one. Chegg is a good one. College Board is another good one. Scholarships. This used to have another name, and now it's just Scholarships. That concludes what we had today. Did anyone have any questions? Don, did you have any questions? You're muted. Let me unmute you. Don, do you have any questions? We have a wireless caller on. Any questions? I'm not seeing it. If you want, try putting your questions in the chat room, and we can send that. Is there anyone else on that has a question? No one does? Then that concludes. So once again, please join us next week on Thursday. We're going to be doing Saying the Right Thing to Get the Money, Part 1. So this is going to say, this is how you get the money. Join us. That'll be 4 o'clock on the third Thursday of the month, and we thank you for joining us.